Hello and welcome to this video. Today we're looking at PowerPoint and how to create a infographic template. For those who've watched my videos on other that I've got on my channel, you will have seen I do like an infographic, and I have done a video on my tips for creating an infographic in PowerPoint. But this time I thought I'd do a slightly different one where we get the students to create the infographic, but we provide them with a basic template. So what we're going to do in this video is talk you through how to create that template in PowerPoint, which you can then share with your students as part of an assignment, and they can do the rest of the populating. So let's start by creating a blank presentation. So we'll wait for my computer to wake itself up. So we've got our blank presentation there. Let me just fill the size of that so it fills for most of the recording's canvas. Okay, so first things first, let's go in and let's go to slide size. So slideshow, design even. Go to Design tab and we'll come to Slide Size. We'll go to Page Setup. So we'll load that up. From the drop down we could choose A4 or we can go for Custom. So let's go with Custom. And let's see what we want. So A4 is 29.7 by 21. So let's get that closer to A4. So 29 point, so A4 will be 21, wouldn't it? So let's do that. Let's make it 21 by, let's make it slightly longer. So make it 35. So it's the width of an A4, but just slightly longer. So that'll do us, and we'll click OK. We want it to be portrait, and we'll scale down so it fits that. So let's just, so we now have our infographic template. We could obviously make it longer if we chose to. So we've now got the canvas size right. The next thing I like to do is to provide just a background of a base color. So let's go into Format, Backgrounds. We'll go to a solid fill color. Let's choose a color. So let's just go with, a dark green. So we've got our dark green base color. Now we could add some shapes into the background. So I think in my previous video, if we go to the Insert menu, we could go to Shapes, we could choose Circles, we could hold the Shift key to get a true circle, and then we could change the color of that. So let's go to Shape Fill, let's go for a lighter green, maybe something slightly darker than that. Let's go somewhere in the middle, and let's get rid of the shape outline. So we can get rid of the outline, we'll say no outlines. So we've got our shape there, and what we could do if we right click on that and to go to Format Shape, it brings up this menu, and we can alter the transparency. So you can see we can reduce the transparency. So we could make it, let's say 60% transparent. So we've got a shape there which we could then start to copy and paste to form our background. So let's paste another one of those in there. So we've got 3. So if we hold the Shift key again and select them all, and then right click, and we can just sort of organize those. Now in the browser based version you'd have an auto fix feature. For some reason they've not included it within the full version as yet. I'm sure it will come. As I do at the start of my videos, just I forgot to mention it, this is Microsoft Office PowerPoint 365 for Mac. So some of the menus may appear slightly different to how you're used to seeing. So what we're going to do is going to copy those and paste them. And this could give us the background for our video. So we'll paste them again. And all we're doing is just providing a bit of interest in the background for our video, for our infographic. So we've got those there. One last set. And there we are. So we've got a background now for our infographics. We've altered the size, we've changed the background color, we've got ourselves a background pattern. If we wanted to, we could select all of them. If we still think that's maybe a bit too prominent and it's going to distract from what was there before, we could reduce the opacity further. So we're just knocking them back so it's very subtle. And then if we want to select all, we can just drag, and that will select nearly all of the ones we want, and we'll just move those in place. Now I know they have recently announced a lock feature coming. It may have arrived on the on the Microsoft version for PC, but it's not yet on the full version for Mac. But what that will enable you to do is to lock a background element. So anyway, we've now got our background in there. We're ready to go. We now want to add some content. So I tend to like using circles. So we'll go to the insert menu again. We'll choose shape and we're going to go for some more circles. Again, we'll hold the shift key. I kind of like maybe just slightly bigger than we had before. So we're going to make this time, so not to overwhelm the audience with lots of different colors, I tend to keep the top level shape as white. So let's just choose white as a theme and we'll see how these lay out. So we'll copy and paste that. And I think we could do with going slightly smaller. So we'll reduce the size of that one and then we'll copy and paste. So we've got 2 and paste again. We've got 3. So we'll, just as you click and hold on it, you can see the alignment lines appearing. So I'm happy with that. So I've got my 3 lines. We're going to have a title box at the top. So for that, we'll do insert shape. And we'll go for a rounded box edge. So again, hold the shift key and we can just, if you hold the shift key, you'll get a square box. We're going to make it that size and then we'll just stretch it out to give us our title box. Now, I think for that, we could go white, but again, we could just decide we're going to use an outline. So we do shape outline white and then shape outline again, and let's increase the weight of that, give it a bit of weight. And then we're going to remove the fill. So we'll say no fill. So that's given us the title. And in here, we can start to put some text. So we'll put title. So we're guiding the students on what we want them to put in each one. We can alter the font style if we choose. I do like Century Gothic. I like the really clean nature of it. I think it's a really easy to read font type. We can increase the size of it. Let's try 60 point. We can probably go a bit bigger than that. Let's go for 80. And then we can position that within our shape. Double click on it to select it, and let's make that text white as well. So we've got our title in place. You could, if you wanted to, click on the text, pick up the handles and drag them so that it fills the shape. And we're going to make that center weighted. So there we have it. We've got our title. We've got our first row of icons. We're probably going to want some text to appear beneath the shapes to give us a bit more of a description. So if we go to the insert shape feature, actually just do insert and text box. That's what we want. So we'll do a text box. Again, once you've done that, type in, choose the font style. So we'll go back and we'll do Century Gothic again. And we'll type in info. Again, we will format it so it's center weighted and we'll make it white. And we may want to add a bit more instruction to that. So we'll go add info here. And then having done that, we can copy that text box and paste it so it appears under each of our circles. And again, clicking and holding it will give you alignment lines. So that's centered. We'll copy and paste again and align that so it's centered. So now we have our title box, our first row of elements. So what we can do is we can click one, hold the shift key, click all of the shapes and the descriptions, and then we can copy and paste those and drag them down into position. So we've now got the next row, and it could be that you want 3 rows, or you could be you want a text box at the bottom. So we could copy and paste this shape at the bottom and maybe stretch that so it has a bit more text within that space there. And again, as we did before, let's just grab one of these text boxes, copy and paste that in there, and let's put detail info here, and we can stretch the text box so it fits for the space. So we've now got our basic template ready to share with our students. Again, you could alter the size of these components. The next thing we want to do, for speed, we want to provide some icons that they can use. So let's go to the insert menu and let's go to icons. And this is a really useful feature now available within Office 365 PowerPoint. It's going to wait for those icons to appear. So we've got a whole range of icons there. So it could be we're doing something related to nature. So we're going to include some that we want to have. So we'll have that landscape vista. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them off to one side, and we're going to make them appear white, just so that they're visible to the students. The students can then change the colour depending on the colour of their infographic. Actually, let's make them green so that they do tie in with this infographic. So let's put a slightly, there we are, let's put them there. So we're putting them on the outside edge just to speed up the process. So going along with our nature theme, we're going to include an acorn. And again, we'll do the same process. We'll drag it to the side. We'll make it green. And let's keep going through looking for other nature related. So let's type in nature and see what we get. So we've got, it looks a bit bamboo. So let's have some of that. And we can drag that to the side again. So by dragging it to the side, you're just picking out the icons that you think the students will find most relevant. And that just speeds up the process. When you're asking them to do an activity in class, instead of having to search for all the icons, they can literally just drag and drop the ones or copy and paste the ones that they want. So you could, let's say you may decide to have 6 of those. So we'll just keep adding them. I like the dandelion one, so we'll insert that. And again, drag it to one side, stretch it so it's reasonably big, and make that the same color. So we're slowly growing a collection of different appropriate icons. We're going to provide the student with a choice of 8 icons that they can choose there. So we can do that. We can make that green as well. And let's have the little sampling in hand, so the seedling simple, so that symbol for grow, we'll have that there as well. So slowly but surely we're starting to provide a palette of icons that students can choose from. Final one, let's go with the flowers there and insert. So we'll drag that to size, we'll use the handle to adjust it and make that the same color. So now we've got our basic framework, our basic canvas with a space for the title. What the students will do is they will copy and then they will paste the icon and position it within the infographic, and they can choose whichever is the most appropriate of the things that you're doing. So that's there. We could, if we wanted to, we could insert a text box to provide some instruction to the student. So we'll have a text box and we'll say copy and paste the most appropriate icons into your infographic. And we can make that white so that it is visible. So let's just change the font color to white. So there we have it. We've got our instructions. We've got some icons that the students can use. We've got a template there that we can share with them. And then you could add that to your assignment in Microsoft Teams, or if you're doing this via Google Slides and the format will work exactly the same, you could do that, add it to your Google Classroom. And as the students create the assignment, it creates a copy of this for them, which they can then edit. So there you have it, a way to create an infographic template that students can then populate in class. This is a really good way of maybe getting the students to collaborate on maybe taking notes, to create an infographic full of notes from the class they've just been, or a way of checking their understanding of a topic. And you could differentiate it by giving them more or less information. So I could, on the other side here, I could put, let's just copy that, I could put some key terms in there. So they could be some keywords that would need to appear within the infographic. So there you have it, a way to create an infographic template in PowerPoint that students could then populate. As I say, you could differentiate it by adding keywords or removing some of the information, but I think it gives them a great starting point to create an infographic either as a note summary or as a way of capturing some of the learning that they've been doing. So I hope you found the video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, remember to subscribe to the channel and join me again soon for more EdTech videos. Thanks for watching.